Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the news on Monday. This is MDS Hussain with you. Let's go on the highlights of the headlines. Japan Shigeru Ishiba resigns as Prime Minister. Trump says he and Modi will always be friends despite trade war. Japan celebrates first male royals adulthood in 40 years. Surfer killed in attack by large shark off northern Sydney beach. Thailand's Sinatra suddenly leaves country ahead of court ruling. Afghanistan hit by strong aftershocks after earthquake kills thousands. Hiroshima has become the new go-to Japanese city. Here's why. Children aged 6 and 8 drown after parked family car rolls into river. At least 15 dead after bus plummets 1,000 feet down cliff in Sri Lanka. At least 13 killed after suicide bomber targets Pakistan rally. A suicide bomber blew himself up outside a stadium on Tuesday night as supporters of a nationalist party while leaving a rally in insurgency hit southwest Pakistan, killing 13 people and wounding 30, local police and hospitals officials said. Police Chief Majid Khosrani said the blast occurred near a graveyard close to the stadium on the outskirts of Quetta, the capital of Balochistan province. The body parts of the attacker were recovered, he said. Wasim Beg, a spokesman for a local government hospital, said it had received 13 bodies and dozens of wounded, some in critical condition. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the attack. The rally was held to mark the anniversary of the death of Sardar Ataullah, a veteran nationalist leader and former provincial chief minister. The leader of the Balochistan National Party, Akhtar Mongol, was unharmed, but some of his supporters were among the dead and wounded, senior police officer Usama Amin said. Mr. Mongol is a vocal critic of the government and often holds rallies to demand the release of missing Baloch nationalists. Balochistan Chief Minister Sarfraz Bukti condemned the bombing as a cowardly act of the enemies of humanity, ordering the best possible medical care for the wounded and high-level proof to bring the perpetrators to justice. In Islamabad, Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi also denounced the attack, blaming India-backed terrorists and their facilitators for trying to destabilize the country by targeting civilians. He offered no evidence to back up the allegation. In recent months, Pakistan government and Mr. Bukti have frequently accused India of backing the Pakistan Taliban as well as Baloch separatists, of charge New Delhi has denied. In recent months, Pakistan government and Mr. Bukti have frequently accused India of backing the Pakistani Taliban as well as Baloch separatists of charge New Delhi has denied. Balochistan has long been the scene of low-level insurgency, with groups such as the Balochistan Liberation Army demanding independence from the central government. The separatists have largely targeted security forces and workers from the Pakistan Punjab province, although authorities say the insurgency is now Subdued violence in the region continues. In July, gunmen abducted and killed 9 people after stopping 2 passenger buses on a highway in Balochistan. The buses were going from Quetta to Punjab. Most such previous attacks have been claimed by the outlawed Balochistan Liberation Army. Shocked at a scale of destruction as Afghanistan earthquake death toll climbs to more than 1400. The death toll from Afghanistan's most devastating earthquake in years has risen past 1400 with thousands more injured as aid groups warned that rugged mountainous terrain was slowing rescue efforts in the country's remote eastern villages. Rescue workers trying to reach Afghanistan's earthquake-hit villages faced enormous challenges as rough mountain roads remained cut off amid heavy rain on Tuesday. A massive earthquake in eastern Afghanistan on Sunday night left more than 400 people dead after over 3,100 injured, according to local officials, who cautioned that the numbers were expected to rise as rescue operations continued on Tuesday. Many homes built with mud and stone crumbled instantly due to the tremor, leaving families trapped under the debris. Officials said the devastation was most severe in the province of Kunar, where entire communities were reduced to rubble. The United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator in Afghanistan, Indrika Ratawat, said on Tuesday that damaged roads and landslides are the main obstacles for rescue teams responding to the deadly earthquake. There's been lots of landslides on rock falls, and access has been very limited to everybody in the first 24 hours. He added, the biggest challenge is to reach these remote areas with the road access extremely damaged. The Afghan Red Crescent Society, humanitarian organization active in the region, reported that more than 8,000 homes have been destroyed, with many residents still feared trapped under the rubble. The United Nations coordinator in Afghanistan warned that casualty figures are expected to climb further. We cannot accurately predict how many bodies might still be trapped under the rubble, said Ehsanullah Ehsan, the provincial head of disaster management. Our effort is to complete these operations as soon as possible and to begin distributing aid to the affected families, he told Reuters. Grieving villagers wrapped the bodies of the dead, many of them children in white clothes, before burying them in hastily dug graves, while helicopters shuttled the injured to overcrowded hospitals. Survivors described scenes of chaos as walls and roofs collapsed around them, crushing relatives and neighbors in the darkness. Jafur Khan Goja, 22, from Nargal district, recalled being evacuated to the Jalalabad with his brother who suffered a broken leg. The 6th magnitude quake struck just before midnight on Sunday, shaking remote mountainous province and reducing homes to rubble. By Monday morning, helicopters were airlifting the injured from Kunar and Nangarhar province, while emergency teams dug through collapsed structures in search of survivors. The Taliban appealed for international aid as officials assessed damage from the devastating disaster. Government spokesman Jabiullah Mujahid confirmed 900 deaths thus far. The disaster intensified pressure on a country already struggling with widespread poverty. During international aid and the forced return a large numbers of refugees from neighboring countries. Sharafat Jaman, a spokesman for the health ministry in Kabul, urged the global community to provide assistance. We need it because here lots of people lost their lives and houses, he told Reuters. The United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF warned on Tuesday that thousands of children remained at risk in the quake-affected areas. The agency said it is delivering essential aid including medicines, warm clothing, tents, tarpaulins, and hygiene supplies such as soap, detergent, towels, sanitary pads, and water containers. Talking about Kunar Karbe from the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs told the New York Times the area is very steep and narrow and most of it is inaccessible because of landslides and rains that fell over the past few days. By Monday afternoon, Iran, India, Japan, and the EU had pledged aid for victims of the quake. A notably stronger international response compared to the limited help provided after the deadly 2023 quake in western Afghanistan. We are already unable to meet existing needs, and I'm not even talking about the new needs created by this earthquake. Shirin Ibrahim, country director for the non-profit International Rescue Committee, said, "We are making a plea to world donors to set aside politics to relieve populations." The World Health Organization said damaged roads ongoing after shocks and remote locations of many villages severely impaired the delivery of aid, adding that over 12,000 people had been affected by the quake. The pre-earthquake fragility of the health system means local capacity is overwhelmed, creating total dependence on external actors, it said. Meanwhile, rescue efforts were being hampered by landslides and steep terrain, with Red Cross teams taking 4 hours to reach the worst hit district. By Monday afternoon, the main road to Kunar had reopened, allowing ambulances to shuttle victims to Jalalabad, while helicopters were needed to evacuate an isolated village. Hospitals in Kunar and Nangarhar remained functional, though some local health centers sustained minor damage. Afghanistan healthcare system had already collapsed, with hundreds of facilities closed after United Nations aid was suspended. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres expressed his condolence to the affected Afghans. The United Nations team in Afghanistan is mobilized and will spare no effort to assist those in need in the affected areas, he said. Thank you, everybody.